Hey everybody, Will Ford here. I'm going to talk about family trends in Eastern Europe with a deep look into Poland. Now, starting out, the family structure in Eastern Europe is kind of uniform for all the countries. They stick to the nuclear family model. Um, they tend to only have two children most of the time, and childbearing stops at an early age. I think like 85% stops before the age of 30. Now, the age of marriage used to be for men about 25, and women was early 20s, 22, around there. But now the median age for men is 30 and women is 28. Households, they look very similar to U.S. households, especially nowadays where the economy is different, so kids are spending more time with their parents, and that is the same for Poland and Eastern Europe. The households, they have the kids move in with the parents for the first few years of marriage, and the households are patriarchal, which is father led normally, and that kind of sticks with their ideals of being more conservative. They don't really do any shacking up or living together before marriage. Um, the families are multi generational because you see grandparents still living with parents and the kids living with parents, multi generational households. They do this to make living cheaper. Um, there are some economical issues in Eastern Europe that have caused a lot of issues, especially with the ongoing war um, in the Ukraine. Now, for births, for most of them, 80% to be precise, occur in legally married relationships. Now, births outside of marriage, they have been on the rise, and we see that just as there's more. I don't know the way the younger generations are. It is becoming more acceptable to have children outside of marriage. Um, Now, most women will have their child before the age of 30. That's still sticking with the trend that they stop having children very early in a lot of Eastern Europe and Poland, especially. Um, However, it has been creeping up over the years. Um, 27 is the average age for Poland, where it used to be earlier in the 20s. But because they are conservative, they tend to get married young. They tend to have children young, and we can see that with the age here, even throughout other parts of Europe. People are having children closer to 30 and past 30. But in Poland specifically, it is around the age of 27. Now, since 1980, there has been a decline in the fertility and rate of births, with the lowest point being around 2008, which is kind of strange because from 1980 onwards, Poland has had growth within their GDP. And that points to there's a very low rate of child poverty in Poland. Um, but also, there's a decreasing number of children in the overall population, so that can skew the statistic a little bit. Um, but they do have a low infant mortality rate of 2.7. That's out of every 1,000 births. Now, the age of people within Poland is getting very older. In 1950, the median age was 25.8, but today it is 38.2. And they are predicting that by 2050, the median age is going to be 51. So it is a aging population that is definitely having some struggles because they are a industrial working economy. So with the aging population, it's going to be increasingly more difficult, and you're going to see more struggles come out of the issue of the workforce not being as large. Their life expectancy has increased, but it's lower compared to other European countries. Um, there tends to be more women because where they are an industrialized country, you see that even in in the U.S., men are dying. They die younger. So with an older population, you're going to see more women than men. And with this aging population, you see a strain that is put on the healthcare system because once you hit a certain age, you're just having all these problems. You have to go to the doctors constantly, so it makes getting into doctors difficult and just getting the required things you need done, which has given us another look at the healthcare system. There is a shortage of healthcare workers there. Also very similar to the U.S. Within the older generation, there is some coverage gaps. You see some issues that they develop later on not getting covered or medications not getting paid for. It's very similar to the U.S. system. The population, as you can see from this graph here, is very dissatisfied, with 67% being dissatisfied with the healthcare system. Now, I don't see it as much of a third world country. I see it more on lines with us in the U.S. Because of globalization, which has proven to be a net positive for Poland. They've become very industrialized since World War II, and this led to a lot of job growth. They are producing a lot of things for the world, but with that industrialization and production, there are environmental concerns such as water contamination, air pollution, things like that. But out of all of Eastern Europe, they have one of the greatest economies, really. Um, as you can see here, Poland's GDP since 1990 has well outpaced a lot of other countries, such as Hungary and Italy and Portugal, well outpaced them in GDP per capita. Now, here's something that is throwing a lot of stuff for a loop nowadays because of the war between Russia and Ukraine. In 2023, 17,000 citizens became citizens of Poland. But as you can see here, in the year 2023, there was 39,000 people that came into Poland from Ukraine and 14,000 from Belarus, which are directly impacted because of this war. There's also a small number of German immigrants that came into the country. But as you can see, there are a lot of immigration. There is a lot of immigration happening to Poland. So, in summary, it seems like Poland is a very nice place to live. It's very on par with America and the UK, things like that. But there isn't as much diversity compared to other Western counterparts. They have fared well since World War II and the Soviet era, and their family structure is very similar to the Western world. Overall, I think Poland is a very interesting place. Eastern Europe is very interesting. It is somewhere I'd like to visit, and getting to learn all this about them has been a very valued experience just to see how other parts of the world live.